Welcome everyone to Bloomington Rotary Club's weekly celebration of service for this special day, February 22nd, 2022. That's 02222022 or 22222. We do have a special Rotarian whose birthday is today, this day of Tuesdays. Stay tuned and I'll announce that in a bit. I'm so glad to see you all here today. I'm your current president, Sally Gaskill. Welcome. Our vision as a club is to be a diverse and engaged community of leaders whose fellowship and service have a significant impact locally and globally. Our main fellowship happens here every Tuesday at noon, but we work on the service part every day. Service above
thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you.
Service above self being our motto. I have some very exciting news as I remind you to stay muted today to help out the sound quality for everybody. My very exciting news is that next week, March the 1st, we are going to be back in person at the Frangipani Room at the IMU. And of course, also on Zoom. So hurrah for that. So on this most auspicious day of 22222, I would like to introduce Isidore Torrey to give our reflection. I know you're here somewhere. There you are.
Here I am. Thank you, Sally. My reflection today is pretty much I guess a charge to just for you all to remember. But first, I want to acknowledge that we are towards the end of another Black History Month, and I want to encourage you all, if you haven't been, I hope that you have been a part of what I like to call courageous conversations this month and so on, because Black history is not just one month, it's all year long. And I hope you learn and listen in these courageous conversations. On that same note about history, I want to point out or just note that we all make history every day. There's a song by the late Michael Jackson that says, "Every day, create your history." And he goes on to say that every path you take, you're leaving your legacy. And I just want to encourage you all to acknowledge that you are making history every day. And whether you're on the right side or the wrong side of history, that is for the future to tell. That's not for us, but I hope that at the end of it all, that we Rotarians, that everyone listening is on that right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that reflection. I love the concept of having courageous conversations every day, not just in Black History Month, which, as you've so aptly pointed out, is not just limited to February. Okay, I know we have some visiting Rotarians today. I believe that I saw Beverly Callender Anderson. Bev, can you give a wave? And if you don't know it, Bev happens to be the mom, and I would hope the proud mom, I know she is, of the person who just gave our reflection.
The very proud mom.
Beverly Callender Anderson from the city of Bloomington.
Thank you.
Teresa Claire, I saw you. I believe that you are from Herlo and Associates, is that right? And I'm guessing you're a guest of Jim Bright.
Yes, guest of Jim Bright.
So Jim and Ann are in a car listening to today's meeting. They're traveling back from Virginia to Bloomington. They'll be back in town this afternoon. And then let's see, I saw Mike Heil. Mike, are you there?
I am here.
Hi there. And are you a visiting Rotarian? Remind us.
Well, I'm actually a member of the Brown County, and I've been to the Bloomington club meetings before, but just once or twice. And so I wanted to participate today. Mike Laros had sent out the invitation, so.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. You're
Sure.
always welcome.
You unmute, you unmuted yourself, Sally.
Thank you, Joy. We love our visiting Rotarians and guests. Please join us again in the future, any week. We're here on Zoom and next week back in person as well. I want to thank today's Zoom producers, Joy Harder, Natalie Blaze, and Michael Shermis. This week's roundabout reporter is Alam Barker. And thanks again, Isidore Jimmy Torrey, for the reflection. It's an important birthday week, not just for Rotarians, but for the country. As we celebrate yesterday, we celebrated officially the birthdays of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. In the Rotary family, we have a birthday boy today, two. I'm sorry, I just have to keep saying that. Owen Johnson, happy birthday today. And Glenda Murray, happy birthday in 2 days on February 24th. So I have a few announcements, which I will try to glide through. First of all, tomorrow is our community service day at Hoosier Hills Food Bank. Looking forward to seeing so many of you there. Chris Michael Morrison tells me that we have 4 slots still available for the second shift, which begins at 5:30 and ends at 7. So Chris Michael, if you're here, I know you can put the, there you are. If you can please put the link to the Sign Up Genius in the chat. And please sign up for that second shift if you're able to join us. Also, we're looking for volunteers for this year's district grant project, the Lotus Bazaar, on April 1st and 2nd. Hope you can sign up for that as well. And then April 9th, right on the heels of our district grant project, is our district conference. Alana and I are currently putting together a gift basket for the fellowship house. We're going to focus on the arts of Bloomington this year for the gift basket, which will be auctioned off. If you have any suggestions for the basket, please let us know. And please do plan to join us that day right here in the IMU. And then I have 2 new announcements for the club, new and exciting opportunities, I hope. First of all, I'm delighted to announce that we're going to have a Rotary Day at the Theater on Thursday, March the 10th for the Cardinal Stage production of The Mountaintop by the playwright Katori Hall. As a storm rages outside the Lorraine Motel in Memphis in 1968, one night, the tension builds inside room 306. It's Martin Luther King's last night on earth, but he doesn't know it yet. When a mysterious stranger arrives with surprising news, Dr. King is forced to confront his destiny and his legacy to his people. The playwright and the creative team give us a gripping reimagination of events that night before the assassination of our country's most renowned civil rights leader. So I encourage you all to join me. Tickets are pay what you will from $0 on up. Please call the Cardinal Stage box office and tell them you're part of the Rotary group, and we'll be able to sit more or less together, spaced, of course. It's really exciting for me personally because it's the first production made possible by Cardinal's DEI Fund, and it's the first performance of anything at the John Waldron Arts Center in 2 long years. So let's join as Rotarians together on Thursday evening, March the 10th, for a performance of The Mountaintop. And then my second announcement is, as you may have heard, the cities of Bloomington and Palo Alto, California, have recently been designated the first ever sibling cities in the United States. The purpose of the Sibling Cities program is to showcase each city's unique heritage, culture, and attributes, discover common values and aspirations, build relationship, trust, and mutual respect, share best practices for city management and addressing civic issues, and engage in public dialogue on policy issues. So when I first heard about the Sibling Cities program, I decided to check out the Rotary clubs of Palo Alto. And we've been meeting. We, in fact, met 4 times, the 3 Bloomington clubs and the 2 Palo Alto clubs. Their clubs are slightly bigger than any of ours. They're about 140 members each. We're exploring potential collaborations, and to get to know each other, we're planning actual visits to each other's cities. So a group of 4 or 5, maybe more, maybe less, Palo Alto Rotarians are tentatively planning a trip to Bloomington in late May. And we're tentatively planning to go to Palo Alto in late June, probably over a long weekend. So please let me know if you're interested in joining into the planning and if you're interested in going with us. It's open to any Rotarian. The plan for our visit to California is that we'll each pay for our own expenses, but if you would like to go and expenses are an issue, if you don't have the funds, let me know and we might be able to do something about that. So stay tuned for more information about the Sibling Cities USA program headed up by Palo Alto and Bloomington Rotary clubs. Okay, we've got time for happy dollars today. So this is, of course, our weekly or almost weekly opportunity to talk about things that are making us happy, maybe just things that we're thinking about. And Michael Shermis, I'm very glad to see that you're happy today. What are you happy about?
Well, I'm happy because I'm bringing an opportunity to the Rotary Club here. I'm a member, represent the city of Bloomington, and for a program I'm working with, it's the South Central Community Action Program, Thriving Connections it's called, and we have advisory groups called various things like Economic Stability Advisory Group, which is the one I'm on. They're for IT and other issues as well. And I am recruiting potential fellow members for that opportunity. I'm just happy to offer you all that opportunity. Get in contact with me if you have any questions. There you go.
Thank you. And of course, there will be a contribution made to Teachers Warehouse for the opportunity to make that announcement. Thank you, Michael. Jim Sims.
Hello, everyone. In honor of it being 2-2-2-2-2, I have 2 happy dollars in support of Jimmy Torrey's reflection today. I think it's very important to understand that Black history and any other history is all American history. And I think that was an important point to make. So $22 for Jimmy Torrey and Teachers Warehouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Owen Johnson, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm happy because my nephew and his fiance chose 2/22/22 as their wedding day.
Oh my.
A small group, but apparently it's a big wedding day across the country and it's hard to get places. So I'll give $5 to Teachers Warehouse.
Well, can I just say it's easy to schedule your wedding for 2/22/22, but not so easy to be born today. So for those of you who are, way to go. Who else is happy?
I think it was more my mother's work.
Who else is happy or has something to share?
I'll be happy today.
Good.
First of all, this is George Washington's real birthday, not yesterday or the weekend. And it was my uncle's birthday. So when I was born on the 24th, he teased my mother that she was slow and late, etc. And then 3 years after I was born, she had my sister on my birthday. And that took care of the teasing from the uncle. And on a local artistic historic note, I would invite everybody to stop by the History Center and see the exhibit about the Cook's involvement in historic preservation, not only in Bloomington and Monroe County, but in all of Southern Indiana. I know where I am. So thank you all, and Teachers Warehouse, keep going.
Great. Who else? Who else is happy?
I'll
Well,
go.
go. Oh, Joy, go ahead.
I was gonna hop in and just contribute $10 to Teachers Warehouse because I haven't in a while, and I feel happy that we have a Teachers Warehouse. And also happy that the reflection I did last week wasn't planned for today, and I would have sunk into the mud in my backyard.
Yeah.
That's all.
Can I say something? No.
Charlotte, of course.
Yes, I'm happy because Owen was born today, because he's contributed a lot to our understanding of a lot of things in Indiana. And I also was really happy to hear Jimmy's presentation, because we are very lucky now in this day and place that we have a lot of opportunities to celebrate our diverse cultures, because that has become much easier to do these days. There are more opportunities, more public events, more readings, more books. We're very lucky that we're gradually understanding the breadth of our history. So $22 for happiness.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'll add one. I too will give $22 in honor of all birthdays of today, as well as Jimmy's wonderful reflection. And I want to also encourage everyone to visit City Hall, because my friend and former student Joey Bird Cooper has a really wonderful show up at City Hall only for this month. She's a fabulous creative person, an artist, and she works for the Eskenazi Museum of Art on campus. And she was a student of mine in arts administration many years ago. And I encourage you to go see her work. Anybody else? Okay, then. Thank you all for sharing. And with that, Charlotte, I would like to turn it over to you to introduce today's speaker.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're very lucky today to have one Rotarian of ours, our former district governor. I have to stop. Jessika Hane, who's going to speak to us. A few weeks ago, I attended the district, whatever it was not a conference, but it was a get together where people talked. And we heard from the international president something about his initiatives as in his presidency, which is going on now. And he mentioned that, and this is the first time I heard this, that empowering girls, not women, but girls, was a concern of his. He wanted us to empower girls. And one of the things he mentioned, one of the things he said is a issue for girls across the world, around the world, is that when girls enter their puberty and become physically mature, so they start their menstrual cycles, that they are many of them do not have access to materials which they need for their monthlies, as we used to call them. And I had never thought about that, but he felt that was an important issue that Rotary should attack. And we had not talked about that at all. And so I talked to Jessika, and she had something she knew about it. And I think locally, this is an issue, and internationally, it's an issue. So I've asked Jessika to talk about her perspective on this, and what we can do about it is something that can be dealt with. It's not an expensive, complicated issue. It's very simple. So, except that I think it's not what people talk about yet, generally. So I'm very happy that Jessika is willing to make a presentation today. Okay, thank you, Jessika. Jessika Hane, ta-da, former district.
Thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate being invited to come and present today. And can you all see my screen? Just a thumbs up. Okay, wonderful.
No.
And thank you, Charlotte, for the lovely introduction. I am also a Bloomington Rotarian. I'm from the Wednesday Club, the morning club, and I will say that I'm super thankful for the opportunity to be able to Zoom at 7 a.m. in the morning. I don't think I knew that before the pandemic, but I sure like the extra 30 or so minutes of sleep. So, but I am really glad to hear that in-person meetings are starting to resume in Bloomington. Gosh, I think that connection with each other is so important. And if the Palo Alto Rotarians would like to come to Oliver Winery, Sally, I'd be happy to give them a tour. Just so you know, I do work at Oliver Winery. I'm the Human Resources Director, and I've worked there for 22 years. It'll be 23 in March, which is just crazy. So thankful to work for an employer that supports me in my Rotary journey. So I'm here today in sort of an official capacity. I'm sure many of you know we have Rotary clubs. Our club sits in a district 6580, the best gosh darn district in all of Rotary. And then our district is part of the Heart of America. So that's Rotary Zones 30 and 31, which basically encapsulates most of the Midwestern states. And so I am here today as a zone level empowering girls ambassador. And I would say to you that I do not have all the answers. I do not have all the information, but I'm here today to hopefully start a conversation. I know we've got about 15-20 minutes, and I will definitely save some time for conversation. And I would encourage you to share ideas with each other in the chat. And I'll definitely take a look at those if I remember to take a breath from this presentation. So empowering girls. This is, as Charlotte said, a super important topic. And the Empowering Girls Initiative is one of 3 presidential initiatives that current RI President Shekhar Mehta has outlined for us.
Yes.
And in case you're curious, the other 2, you've probably heard of them this year. It's the Each One Bring One initiative, and it's the Rotary Days of Service initiative. So initiatives within Rotary are not new. But they are typically only talked about for 1 year. And if you've been in Rotary long enough, you know that something that is only around for a year is really hard to gain traction on. It's so hard for our presidents to, you've only got a year to get the things done that you want to get done. But with the Empowering Girls Initiative, we have very good information that tells us that incoming President Jennifer Jones is interested in continuing this initiative, and her successor after that as well. So I promise you that the work that we are doing to empower girls does not have to stop when this Rotary year ends, and it shouldn't stop when this Rotary year ends. So please advance your slide, Jessica, because it's kind of boring just staring and looking at this one slide. So why do we want to talk about empowering girls? And I would say that when I first heard about this initiative, I thought what a lot of people thought, which is, okay, great. Rotary loves kids. We do a lot to empower kids. Or Rotary empowers women. Empowering women is something that we do. To be clear, this initiative is about girls, specifically and implicitly. We're talking about infants to 18-year-olds because they need our help. And I've got some informational slides to share with you today about the plight of the girl, what girls around the world face. And again, I'm not an expert, but hopefully hearing some of these things will inspire you to think about what you could do in Bloomington, right? And I speak about this in all kinds of places, so I always say in your community, but this is interesting because this is our community, right? And I know you're already doing a lot of this work. So I'm not going to read directly off the slides, but I do have a few other facts to share with you. According to the UN, empowering girls, that act of empowering girls includes 5 components, and I can share these slides if anybody wants them later. It includes improving their self-worth, improving their right to have and to determine their own choices, improving their right to have access to opportunities and to resources, improving their right to have power and control over their lives, both within their homes and in society, right? And improving their ability to influence the direction of social change in their lives. So those are 5 big things to unpack, right? But even little projects can make a difference. And we know that empowering girls aligns with Rotary's 7 areas of focus. Pick an idea, pick a project, and you can see how we really make a difference around the world. So why am I here when I've just said I'm not an expert on empowering girls? I mean, I was a girl. I had 18 years of experience, right? But my lived experience is much different from any other girl, right? So the reason I'm here and the reason I get the opportunity to talk to you is because this initiative is so exciting that all of the RI directors said this absolutely has to be something that Rotary pushes forward. Now, Rotary directors, they're just like you and me, right? They are volunteer leaders. They're busy. They have a lot on their plate. And so they said, let's create ambassadors within our zones who can be advocates for this program. So I was invited to be one of those. You know me, you've met me before. I'm a natural born hand raiser. I said, let's do it. And so I am learning alongside my fellow ambassadors. In zone 30, which is our zone, it's me and my district governor classmate and good friend, Ron Apoon. And then in the western side of the zone, we've got Pamela Stewart and Larry Howell. So we've got some gender diversity in our group, and we have been learning a lot together. So we report to our director, Elizabeth Yusevich, who also just happens to be the chair of the Empowering Girls Task Force, which is wonderful because we get to meet with her often. And our role is to just build enthusiasm and awareness, right? To get to do exactly what I'm doing today, to talk about this issue with clubs, to encourage participation. And it's so great, like that we've got Mike visiting from Brown County on this call, because all of this can be taken back to other clubs and it should be talked about. And it's a twofer for me, right? I get to talk to Brown County when I'm here today, which is fantastic. So, and we share stories with each other, right? So let me spend just a few minutes talking about how hard it is to be a girl in the world today, right? And some of this will feel really global, but there'll be pieces that will absolutely hit home for us here in Bloomington, Indiana, right? So girls face significant challenges across the world, right? There is a preference for sons in many cultures, and this can lead to abortions. It can lead to infanticide. It can lead to other means that reduce the female population. And then there's also traditional cultural expectations, right? About how much time girls should be spending at school or in the home or outside of the home. And even in developed areas like the United States, these things might not be as obvious, but they're absolutely present. Girls also face significant challenges when it comes to health and nutrition. And this shows up in many ways, some of them that feel like they're competing against each other. Girls face malnutrition, obesity, eating disorders. You know, I have 3 daughters and 1 son, and I can't even fathom the mental health issues that they and their peers are going to face when it comes to social media and body image, right? I mean, that is just a wild, wild west world that we are living in today. Health and hygiene, and Charlotte mentioned menstrual health, and I am going to talk specifically about that in a moment. But health and hygiene, this spans the gamut of all kinds of issues. The one I wanted to highlight from this slide would be HIV, right? HIV has actually increased 31% since 1995 in girls ages 10 to 19. We have all these resources, we have all this medication, we have all this education, and it's still a tremendous issue, right? And then lack of personal hygiene resources, lack of menstrual hygiene supplies, of period product supplies, leads to school absenteeism all around the world. It doesn't matter where you live, it impacts our girls. And when they don't go to school, this leads to all kinds of economic costs, right? Both directly for the girl and for their family and their future earning capabilities. Child marriage. Child marriage leads to reduced educational attainment, full stop, right? And it also leads to reduced economical attainment, not only for the girls, but for society. And then the other side, adolescent pregnancy, right? Maternal health, maternal and child health is one of our 7 areas of focus, right? So this slide really hits home. And as you can see on the slide, pregnancy, adolescent pregnancy is one of the leading causes of death for girls ages 15 to 19, and their babies face higher risks. And I would say, like, I know that these slides are super heavy and it's a Tuesday and it's 2/22/22 day, so it's really light and fun. But you know, these are big issues, and we can absolutely make an impact to the girls in our community and around the world. But it's important to be aware and to know about these things. Education and skills, I already kind of hinted at this, but basic education and literacy is being denied to some 60 million girls worldwide. And if a girl can complete her secondary education, the long-term benefits that she reaps include lower fertility and higher labor task force participation. So that's a win-win, right? And we know that the cost of intervening after a girl has missed school, right? After she's gotten out of the system, trying to put her back in, trying to catch her up, is tremendously higher than keeping her there in the first place. And then violence against girls. Human trafficking is something that affects our local communities too, right? I'm sure many of you have heard about Sojourn House here that's been set up in the old Steinsville Elementary. We've had a couple of service projects with the Bloomington North Club, and perhaps this club has too. I apologize that I don't know. But it impacts our local communities, and it's not limited to education level, socioeconomic level, or really any kind of traditional metrics. But what we know is 51% of human trafficking victims are women, and 20% are girls. And then violence against girls just continues to be felt in our local communities. And I would say that, you know, current district governor here, Kirk Bushy from Vincennes, his class has really rallied around the issue of human trafficking. So there are lots of webinars and lots of resources out there around that specific empowering girls topic, which I can certainly get to the right people in this club if you would like to know. So all of that, you know, big deep breath, right? That's a lot to unpack. But what can Rotary do, right? What can we do as Rotarians? And I would first of all say, we're doing a lot. We probably aren't giving ourselves enough credit for the things that we're already doing, the support that we're giving. I mean, just think about Teachers Warehouse, right? Helping teachers get the STEAM supplies that they need, and those teachers giving them to girls in their class is empowering those girls, right? So we already do a lot of this work, but the best thing for us to do as a group is to not be an expert and to seek out information from others, right? So finding out what challenges do girls specifically face in the Bloomington community, right? How can the Bloomington Club work with these organizations to improve the lives of girls? What are we missing? How can we use our voices to raise awareness to these issues? I mean, I just, like Sally, you did such a nice job of talking about some of your exciting announcements today. And I forget about just that power of each of us talking to each other about something important. And then we go home and we talk to our friends and our spouses and our partners or our coworkers, and we raise awareness. Our voices, they really have levity, and they're important and they matter. So, and then thinking about, do we empower women in our clubs? And again, I think this club is an exemplary version of that question. So lots to do, and feel free in the chat if you want to, if you've got ideas for things that your club could do or things that you're already doing and you like using the Zoom chat, please feel free to share that and we'll look at it in a minute. But just a couple more slides here. And you've heard me talk about this before. So Rotary and Rotarians, we are wonderful doers of things. We are great at raising money. We are not always amazing at telling the story of what we do. And that's because we're who we are. We are humble volunteers. We give because giving is important and it feels good to us and it's in our lifeblood as volunteers. But we have to tell our story to more people. And so Rotary International is asking, and it's part of my job as an ambassador, asking us to do more to share the story of what we are doing to empower girls. So in case you haven't spent hours on my Rotary, like me, very few people have, there is a section in my Rotary called Take Action and then the Rotary Showcase. You can see on my screen here, there's a quick way to get to it. It's hard to find. We didn't design the website, but it's there. And there is a listing of empowering girls projects. These are mostly all over the world. Frankly, the United States is not doing a great job of getting into the Rotary Showcase and putting in their projects. I can teach anybody in this club how to do it. My fellow ambassadors, we sort of have a little competition going on to see if we can get more projects into Rotary Showcase. But this is a great way to share what we're doing and to get inspiration. So just quickly, two versions so you can see these up close. This is a project in India. It is a menstrual hygiene, how to make menstrual hygiene pads. They're teaching the women and girls how to make the pads. So these are reusable pads that they can learn a skill, they can sell them, and then they've also got something that's sustainable that they can use in their community. And you can see in the corner picture, that's current President Shaker. He was attending that learning fair that they had that day. This is another project in a shelter for girls who are victims of abuse and exploitation. And this project was about teaching the girls how to build an organic vegetable garden. I spoke to Bloomington North last week. This is why I have this knowledge. They just put a project in. They have a, at the Nyaka School, and I know many of us have sponsored this, they are helping to not only train girls on how to make reusable pads, but they've got a social worker in the system who is collecting data on how sustainable the project is. So they've put their project in as well. I'm going really fast because I want to leave time for questions, but projects in our district. Many clubs already have projects that fit this initiative. We should be really proud of that. And I'll talk about Sojourn House, sure. And a local project can be an Empowering Girls project. An international project can be an Empowering Girls project. Really, it just needs to be specifically about girls. And then the other thing, there's tons of resources. Again, I can share this. Talking to an ambassador, going to the RI President's page, talking to a Rotary Action Group. You might have heard the acronym RAGS, right? These are Rotarians who have a specific interest at heart, and they know a lot about making a difference around those problems. And then again, Rotary Showcase, partnering with other clubs. The reason I'm so proud to be an Empowering Girls ambassador, and the reason we're pushing so hard for clubs to do projects like this, is because this could be another lasting legacy for Rotarians, right? We have the ability to make a better future for a generation of girls. And that's what we do as Rotarians, right? Is we make a difference. One thing I wanted to mention, so district conference, right? So it's coming up on April 9th at the Union, and we have a district-wide service project. So we are putting together, and this project will benefit Girls Inc. of Monroe County. And I hope I get this right. If you don't know, we lost Girls Inc. during the pandemic. They went away, They are now a partner with Girls Inc. of Shelby County. And so they're back. Their programming has changed a little bit. They're doing more camps. They're doing more special programs and education in the schools. But we are partnering with them to make, and we totally need a better name for this, but we're doing period positivity pouches, right? So here is the prototype. Look how cute it is. It's actually going to be periwinkle. And it will say, like, it's got like some positive affirmations on the front. It's tween approved, right? Not 44-year-old Jessika Hane approved. It's tween approved. And we're going to be making these, and they will hold, you can see, you know, hopefully like about a cycle's supply of period products. We'll probably put like some chapstick in there, maybe some mints, or we're trying to work with some local dentists to get some toothbrushes. So, you know, it's meant to be something that they might actually carry around. And Girls Inc. will be giving these out to the girls, and we'll also be making like refills. We'll put in Ziploc baggies, we'll do refills so that they can come and get those anytime. And so we're looking for supplies, right? We need pads and tampons. If you in your life have never shopped for pads or tampons, you can also donate money. Or I will tell you, be brave and just go to CVS and pick a few packages. You cannot go wrong. And then we also need note cards. So like if you've got a nice new box of note cards lying around, or you want to go to Target and pick one, because Rotarians at the conference will be sorting supplies, packing the pouches, and then we're going to write like some nice affirming messages inside for the girls. So it can't be a big card. It's got to be like your small thank you card, right? So I would love any donations of supplies. I'm going to be sending out an email about this later. We need cash so that we can buy supplies and supplement the pouches. And then we'll also need volunteers. Day of, it will be in the afternoon after lunch, and we'll be sending out more information about that. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a fun project. We've got volunteers from Girls Inc. coming in, and it will be this really nice hands-on project that we have. So Sojourn House, let me tell you what I know about this. And again, I'm not an expert. So, and by the way, have you not had Sojourn House come and speak to your club? Oh, they will. You should definitely do that. So this is housing for women and girls who have been victims of trafficking, right? And so the last district grant that I know of, the Bloomington North Club, they painted their art room and then purchased the chairs and maybe some desks. And then they bought loads of art supplies. So they are actively setting up the house. So I don't know if they've set up their kitchen yet. Maybe they need, you know, help with that. So I will send Sally, I'll send you the contact information. I'll get that from my husband, Brian Hane. Maybe you've met him. And we'll let you know more about that. That's all I have, everybody. I thank you for the opportunity. Oh, what I should say too, to Charlotte's notion, lack of access to menstrual hygiene products is a huge problem, right? This is something that's been going on for years. If you don't know, menstrual hygiene products are taxed, they are expensive, and it's a topic that we don't like to talk about, but you know, if you are a woman, you have dealt with this at some point in your life, and it's an ongoing thing, right? There's a great website called the Alliance for Period Supplies. You can Google it. They have wonderful fact sheets about period poverty in our area. The last time I looked, the stat was one in 5 menstruators are experiencing poverty, and then 1 in 4 who experience poverty miss school because of lack of period products, right? And this is right here in Southern Indiana. So we're just going to try to help a little bit with this district conference project.
Jessika, thank you so much for this wealth of information, sobering to be true. And thank you for being our zone's ambassador. That's pretty great and for spreading the word on what we might do as Rotarians. There's a note here from Bette Savage about the Dignity Project. Do you know about that?
I don't. I was just typing. That's a great lead. I knew there was some stuff going on in the high school, but I wasn't sure. So that's wonderful.
Great. Questions for Jessika about the topic and the work? Questions. Who has a question? I know Charlotte's going to have a question. Lynn
I was just
Schwartzberg.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
don't actually have a question, Jessica. I have a comment. I think this focus on women's menstrual needs is so long overdue, and I'm so thrilled that this is a project that we as U.S. Rotary clubs can address. And to all you men out there, read the Red Tent, read something, and find out about the lives of women in society.
Charlotte. Charlotte, did you have a question or a comment? You're on mute, but at least we can see you now at your beach. There you go.
Okay. I wanted to thank Jessika. She did get the points I wanted to make. I found out from Marcus Devereaux that North has little locations in the women's restrooms, in the girls' restrooms at North, that where they fill with supplies for their students. I didn't know that, and I think that's important to know, and we can help them too.
Good to know.
This is all stuff that can be easily dealt with not so much money and not so much energy, and we should just really get on it. Plus, understanding, I have 3 granddaughters, understanding that girls do go through, as we know, as women, special challenges as they progress into the economy. It's hard, and we should just be there to encourage and empower them. Girls are good.
You're here.
Thank you for that, Charlotte. And I should also mention, I neglected to mention it. If you would like to be on the district project committee, I'd love a few Bloomington volunteer Rotarians to help. Just with the logistics, it will not be a lot of work. But my email is in the chat, jessika@hane.com. And if you want to, this is so cheesy, I'm totally going to do it. If you want to Venmo me some money, here's my Venmo account.
Why not?
Usually I like to show up at this club and people give me $20 bills for whatever district project we're doing. So, I promise that we will use them to buy pads and tampons for this project.
Okay, this is Martha. Am I on?
Yes.
Okay, I'm old, and I have to say that in my era, nobody recognized the fact that there was menstruation. And I think it's wonderful that there's open discussion of this. Oh my gosh, I hope that the male legislators will recognize that women have certain things that happen monthly until they're my age. And anyway, I just am so grateful for so many things that have happened in my lifetime, which ranges from Title IX to recognition of menstruation to you name it.
You're here. Thank you, Martha.
So this is Glenda. I wonder if Ashley's here or Jeff Baldwin, can they address, is this a need at the Boys and Girls Club? Because that sure seems like something easy that we could help with on an annual basis. So I just throw that out.
Yeah, Do you think, Jessica, this is really going to just go away when the new Rotary year starts, or will there be momentum built up and it may get carried over?
Maybe Lance can speak to that. And
Yes, I'll be glad to. Thank you, Jessica. Sally, yes, it is going to be a continued point of emphasis as we go forward into Jennifer Jones this year. So she's continuing to look to build on part of what has been started here.
Great, good. Yeah, I would echo everyone else's accolades that this is a great thing for Rotary International and for the clubs in the United States to be paying attention to.
Girls Inc., by the way, they are also interested in developing almost like little free pantries for period products.
Oh, wow.
So just an idea.
Cool. Any other questions? Yeah, I like the.
I see
girl power
Raj. I see
coaches.
Dr. Hadawi has raised his hand.
Oh, Raj, please. Yes.
Well, I'm so grateful for today's presentation and bring it to all us, male in particular, attention. We're so fortunate none of us had to go through the staging where Jessica described so vividly. I'm sorry this is part of our society, but that is the reality of fact. And for that, I contribute $50 for Jessica presentation today.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you, Raj. And you'd like to go that to the project, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, great. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for being here and for your amazing leadership in this and so many other things. A lot of people on the call may not know that some time ago you served as the board president of Cardinal Stage. And I mentioned that because you've been a community leader outside of Rotary, in addition to all of your marvelous work within the organization. But I mentioned Cardinal in particular because we will be making a donation to Cardinal Stage today in honor of your presentation. They're the recipient of this quarter's program speaker recognition.
Wonderful. Thank you all for that. That's great.
So Alan Barker, over to you to give us information about next week's program. And just to repeat, we will be back in the Frangipani room, masked when we're not eating and drinking. For those of you who can make it, otherwise we'll be on Zoom as well. Alan.
Thank you so much, Sally, and hi, everybody. Next week in the Frangipani room, as Sally said, we will be hearing from Kurt Zorn, who is professor at the O'Neill School and acting vice provost for the undergraduate education at Indiana University. And he will be speaking on IU athletics from an IU faculty representative perspective. So that should be interesting, bringing those two worlds together.
Indeed. So let's close our meeting by reciting the four-way test +1 altogether.
Will
of the things we think,
say, or
do.
First,
is it the
is it the truth?
Second,
Fair
is it
to all concerned? Third,
will it build better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun? That was your bell. Thanks, everybody. Thank you again, Jessica. See you all next week. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you, President Sally.